Hey, Michael.
Hey, Dean.
Okay, Michael, here's my thing. First, tell folks a little bit about you, and then we've got three hypotheticals that I'm going to walk you and Lindsay through, and you and I are going to jump right into the first hypothetical. So, who are you?
Fantastic. I'm Michael Baer. I'm a fractional chief marketing officer. I work for a company, a consulting company called Tjepkema, and we offer the full C-suite. So we have over 120 partners that are seasoned C-suite executives, and we have practices across the C-suite. So there are CFOs, CTOs, executive operations people, and beyond. And I'm a chief marketing officer in the revenue growth practice.
All right. I guess I should actually. This is kind of like a reverse disclosure. While I do have as clients companies like Chief Outsiders and Sales Acceleration and
Mhm.
Wolfedge Integrators, like CXO is not one of my clients. Just so we're clear. So we do not have an existing relationship that way. When the other people have come on, I've had to say it, so I figured I would say the reverse this time.
Mm.
Okay, so here's hypothetical number one.
Okay.
I imagine a lot of your work, like all of our work these days, tends to be remote. But this client,
Yes.
this is the first day on a Monday, a brand new client. This client's only 5 minutes from your home. So you're actually going to walk into the premises on day one. Okay. So you walk in, brand new engagement, brand new client. There's been some, lead up to the sale, but you haven't worked with these folks or anything before, right? And now, of course, the relationship's different because now you're getting paid and it's a vendor. They're not just a prospect. So you walk in as fractional CMO. What's sort of the dream scenario to walk into on day one, and what's the nightmare scenario to walk into on day one?
Well, the dream scenario is less a dream because I do feel like there had to be some work in advance to
Right.
prepare for it. And so the dream scenario has a series of meetings where I can meet as many people that are relevant, but within within the company that makes sense, who are in that day. So series of meetings, some work sessions, hopefully even a lunch where there's get to know you kind of thing. And there's a plan for the day. Like I said, you have to work in advance to get it, live the dream. The nightmare is no one's in. Yeah, the nightmare is no one's there, um, and you're trying to figure out what to do, and people are too busy to meet with you, and
Mm-hmm.
you're sitting there looking at your computer doing work you could be doing at home.
Yeah, that would suck. Yeah, I wouldn't like that either. Okay, fair enough. Good answer. Good answer. So, Lindsay, hi. Tell folks a little bit about you, and then I want to walk through the dream and the nightmare.
Okay, hello. I'm Lindsay Tjepkema. I am also a fractional CMO, advisor, speaker, also podcast host, and former CEO, former marketing leader. So I bring a couple decades of marketing stuff and several years of venture-backed founder stuff into one little package where I work with a lot of executives and founders to help them grow their businesses, specifically by growing their brands. So that's me.
All right. So you're walking in. It's day one. You're actually going to meet people in person, right? And find the break room. They show you where the bathrooms are. Maybe you get a badge, and then you're the new head of of marketing. You walk in. What's the ideal then, and what's the nightmare?
Yeah, an ideal situation as a fractional executive jumping in to an existing team with the charge to go and make things happen is to be in a space where people are open and willing to share and to help you understand what's going right, what's not going well, give you some backstory, help you understand what is happening now and where the gaps are so that you can do a lot of listening, do a lot of asking and answering questions. Conversely, the nightmare scenario is when you walk in, whether it's virtually or in person, and it's just expectations without resources. And
Right.
it's like, well, you're here to go, move the needle, so to speak. But all we can tell you is that it's just not working now, and none of us are available to help give you any context. And by the way, you can't attend any of the meetings because you're here to be on an island. So
Right. All right. So let's say that still in the same scenario, still on day one, you do actually have 15 minutes carved out to talk to the CEO, right? Now in the relationship of like client and vendor as opposed to prospect and possible vendor. What's your favorite question to ask a CEO?
Why are you here? In the words of Simon Sinek, it starts with why. Like every engagement, every relationship, every job that I get started with, I start with why. Why are we here? And I keep asking that as we get beyond the tactical and the problems and the minutia into the real problems that are being solved, the solutions that are being provided, why that human is here, why the business exists, why they are serving the customers that they're serving. To me, that's where the real work can actually begin.
And Michael, how about you? Or here's a twist. Well, what's your favorite question to ask a CEO on day one? Or what seems to be a popular question CEOs ask you?
So I think the two key questions, certainly at the beginning of a relationship, is what is the biggest or are the biggest challenges you're facing right now and why? And then conversely, what are some of the or the biggest unleveraged or underleveraged opportunity that you haven't been able to take advantage of? And I like to get those early because really you have to understand, especially when you're working with the CEO, which is generally Lindsay and I both do. You have to know what at least they think you're trying to solve for and unblock them from. I do obviously then want to get to why they're doing what they're doing and the actual strategy behind their business. But first, it's what are you there to solve for? And in fact, at the end of the day, if you don't necessarily solve the challenges that they've set out, it doesn't matter how great the work you've done is, you won't succeed or they won't think you've succeeded.
All right. So, good. Go ahead. What's the other
No,
one?
I was going to, the other piece you said was, what do they ask me? And I think, the first thing is always, have you seen this before? And what have you done to solve this before? And that those questions often come before they actually end up hiring you, because at the end of the day, somebody wants to know you've been able to unblock them, companies like them, or solve very similar problems.
Yeah. All right. So let's switch to another hypothetical. Okay. You're keynote speaker on stage. The audience, 250 people, just came out of corporate. They all became fractional CMOs yesterday. And after you're like, why? So we're going to go through like 3 parts of your speech, and you just finish this thought with however long it takes you to finish the thought. Okay. You're talking to them and say, look, fractional CMOs, you're just starting out. Something you're absolutely going to be shocked by being a fractional CMO is what?
Who are you asking?
Michael.
What
are they going to be shocked by?
2 things. One is that that the business development never stops. You have to keep meeting people, networking, and if you don't think you like that or enjoy that or might be good at it, then you probably should get a full-time job. And then the second thing I think is how surprisingly similar companies you parachute into are. They all think that they're totally unique and everything, nothing is like this. This business is different. This industry is different. My client or customer is different. But there's so many similarities that you will be able to leverage your horizontal experience in ways that will help you solve for them, and they will be pleased because of it.
And Lindsay, how about you? Like, you're talking to these folks, you're the expert. You know, they're fresh baked. This is only day 2 for them, right? What are they going to be shocked by about being a fractional CMO?
I think one thing that surprises a lot of fractional CMOs is, one, that the selling never stops. It's constantly prospecting on top of serving your clients. But I think even more than that, something that I actually really love, but I think surprises a lot of people, is that it's like one part therapy and one part like actual, strategy and execution and CMO work. I work with a lot of founders. I work with a lot of CEOs, and being somebody who is so ingrained in the business, but also is outside the business. I love that I get to be a safe place for a lot of my clients where they can really open up to me about their challenges, the issues that they're facing, the pressure that they are feeling as humans. And so it's for sure fractional CMO work, but it's also, there's like a pretty hefty portion of therapy and camaraderie and being a confidant as well.
I think that is this is episode 178. I think that's the first time anyone's given that answer.
Maybe it's just me. I don't know.
Maybe it's just you. Okay. So Lindsay, you're still on stage. You're about halfway through. And finish this thought for me and the audience. And what you'll find is many clients just don't understand what.
Oh, goodness. One thing that I think a lot of clients don't understand is that your time is finite. And if you're doing a good job and your relationship is strong, it should feel like you're a seamless part of the team. And quite often they won't really notice that you're not full-time. But you likely also have 1, 2, 3, 4 other clients. And so you get stretched pretty thin. And so I think that they can sometimes forget, sometimes it's subconsciously, that you kind of have 4 full-time jobs. And by the way, don't forget you're still prospecting. And so I think as a client, if you can be conscious of that, it's very helpful to your fractionals.
And Michael, how about you telling this audience, you're going to find many of your clients just don't understand what?
How spending time developing a strategy is time that actually speeds you up. It doesn't slow you down. I think so often they just want to start doing things. And can we make this, or can we initiate this, or can we improve the performance of X before they even have documented who their customer is or how to go to market strategically. And I always say, listen, this won't slow you down. This will actually make you not make so many wrong turns and not waste time doing the wrong thing and not have to retrace our steps because we didn't do this in advance. And I can't tell you how many. I work with a lot of early stage and founders and CEOs who say, well, we all know that. We all know who our customer is. We don't need to do that. And I have to tell you, once you get beyond one person and you're touching 2 or 3 people, what's in their head may be slightly different. And everybody isn't on the same page like they think they are. So I think the importance of strategy, believe it or not, even in a scrappy startup world, is even more important because time is precious, and making the wrong steps or spending money and time and resources inefficiently and unstrategically is tragic.
Yeah. All right. So Michael, there's some interns trying to shoo you off the stage. They want you to wind it up, right? Music's coming up. It's like the Oscars. And but you're determined to leave like one more thought for these folks as they're sort of pushing you off stage. And this is no matter what, if I just had to give you one lesson about getting clients, here it is.
Can I ask a question to you?
You can ask
when you say getting clients, you mean as a fractional CMO getting CMO. Other clients? It's consistent. Consistency is important. Being out there, meeting people, following up, and being present, I think is hugely important. The work of business development, just like it does on, for your clients, it never does stop. So be persistent and stay in touch with people even after you've gotten no's or lost gigs or somebody said we're not ready. Just stay in touch and things come back, and just be persistent and consistent.
You very We're going to leave these brand new fractional CMOs with one lesson that they should never forget about getting clients. What is it?
Relationships. 100% relationships. People do business with people, and trust there, especially when it comes to fractional C-level partnerships. It's a big decision. It's an important relationship. It is absolutely an imperative partnership that is built on trust and belief that you, as their fractional person, can do what they need you to do. And that comes with trust and building relationships long term. And so you've got to invest in your brand, real and perceived relationships, how you show up, what you share, how you're nurturing long term friendships and your network. That's where it all comes from. That's where your business absolutely will come from. Not from any one magical thing that you post or form that you create or one event that you attend. It's your network long term and how you are investing in it as a real human being and adding value to it constantly.
All right. So third scenario. All right. You get down off stage. This was part of a big conference. So you go out onto the floor where all the booths are and potential customers and so on. And, you're just striking up conversations. People recognize you. You're a speaker. And so you're talking to these prospective clients. And, marketing is one of those topics where almost everyone thinks they understand a lot about it. I mean, that might not be your experience, but in my experience, it's a lot about it. So you're talking to these prospective clients. As you're talking to prospective clients, and they're talking to you about marketing and their situation and so on, what thing do people seem to overrate these days? You're talking to companies, and the companies, oh, we should try this, or I've heard about that tool, or this concept, or this, whatever. Lindsay, what's sort of like overrated in clients or prospective clients' minds these days, and what's underrated, like criminally underrated?
Ooh, what's overrated? Tech, and this is as a former tech founder and CEO. No, and playbooks, tech and playbooks. They're great, but they are tools. No playbook, no tech, no AI prompt will ever get you the breakthrough that you're chasing after. They are tools that can help you get there. But if you go and you look at the most legendary businesses that have achieved their breakthrough, they didn't do it by being really, really good at implementing a tech stack or at following someone else's playbook. They did it by thinking differently and by being brave enough to forge their own path. So I think silver bullets of tech and playbooks are overrated. Underrated, brand. There's so much conversation happening right now about go-to-market and marketing and revenue and brand versus demand. Your brand is your story. It is the foundation of literally everything. It's your why, it's your who you serve, it's your why you serve them. It's the whole reason for being. It's how you show up. It's where trust begins. So the fact that so many executives and founders and leaders and investors put brand on the back burner as like arts and crafts is a huge miss. Again, if you look at the brands and the businesses that have reached ultimate legendary breakthrough status, look at their brands. Yep. Look at how you trust them. That didn't just happen. It was very intentional. And I think it's a mistake that a lot of people unfortunately make by overlooking it.
And Michael, how about you when you're talking to clients and prospective clients? What do they overrate these days, and what's still underrated or forgotten?
You're going to want to throw tomatoes at me, but I will say AI is by far the most overrated tool. Now, I'm not a Luddite. I'm not breaking the machines. I am a user. I use AI in a variety of ways every single day, many times. But I think that what marketers are getting wrong is that AI is the answer. It's the shortcut. We can make more. We can do, create content. We can create emails. We can respond to people. And I think what we're seeing is just the beginning of a tidal wave of oversaturated content, lower engaging. I mean, we already know how low engagement is on social media, on emails, on response times. And now we've just made it easier to create unengaging, uninteresting, and not insight-based content. So I'm concerned that people think we're going to get to the promised land with shortcuts. And I think we all know you got to do the work. You've got to be, whatever you're developing needs to be built around insight, needs to be authentic. I mean, I was having a conversation with somebody just today who said, somebody told me that we're going to have a stamp that says authentically human in the future, and actually non-AI content is going to have an edge over AI. So don't shoot me. I think AI is a giant breakthrough, and like I said, I use it every day, but it's got to be used, I think, to reduce manual labor, not to try to get to content that's allows you to do it more frequently. So that's one thing. What I would say is most underrated is you will never, ever be accused of knowing your customer too well.
Right.
And time spent on understanding your customer, documenting it, setting it down for all to build around is time well spent. And everything you do, once you do understand your consumer, know their needs and their challenges and their pains, and build your story, build your product, not just your story, around that, is really, I think, the key to success. Undervalued key to success.
If you're talking to these prospective clients, right? You've talked to lots of prospective clients, and like all of us, some become clients. The majority do not. It's the nature of selling. What's like a red flag and what's a green flag when you're talking to a customer and you're thinking, yeah, this would be a good match for them, and I'd be a good match. They'd be a good match for me. Or, oh no. Not only should they not be hiring, they probably shouldn't be hiring any fractional CMO. Like, what's one red flag and one green flag when you're talking to prospects?
I think a red flag is when they're jumping to solutions. Hey, we just need to improve our conversion rate. And you know what? We're starting to see a decline in our engagement in something, and we just need to turn those dials. I think that's when they've decided they already know what to do. Whether or not they have a strategy, they're by default have one, and if it's not working, they probably don't want to open up that can of worms. And if that's the case, I always say, in fact, I just raise my hand and say, look, I have some really good performance marketing practitioners. You'll save time, you'll save money. Just go with, just do that. But if you don't really want to open up, sort of the strategic inquiry and start to dig into, maybe it's not working because you don't have a strategy, or maybe it's not working because you already got the bottom of the funnel, and you're not refilling it with a bigger, higher order message.
No, I get it. So some of us make a very good living improving conversion rates, but I am not a fractional CMO, so I don't have to worry about that.
Absolutely. No, there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, that's critical.
What's a green flag then?
A green flag is somebody who starts to really engage with questions about what is their business, why did they come up with it, and recognize they don't really understand how to go to market. They want to engage in those kinds of conversations, and that's really great, because I think most companies don't really have clarity, and by jumping to tactics, you're not going to get there. But if you're open to this, digging in, then I'm all in.
And Lindsay, how about you? What's one red flag when you're talking to a prospect, and what's a green flag that they'd be a good match?
Yeah, when I'm talking to a prospect who wants the recipe, wants the directions, the Google Maps answer to how I am going to 3x their growth within the next 2 months. I get it. I've been a CEO. I understand the pressure is real. The need for silver bullets, the desire for a magic wand is strong, but it's a red flag to me, because they're setting themselves up for disappointment and their partner up for failure. Green flag, conversely, is someone who wants to partner, and If they're bringing in a fractional CMO, they see you as an augmentation of their team, as an actual thought partner and strategic thinker, and somebody who can expand their way of thinking, introduce new expertise and new ideas, and align with them on goals and how to get there, knowing that it's going to be different than what they're already thinking, thus the reason that you're there.
All right. So one of the things about the podcast is everyone picks their own time slot, right? It's always a Thursday when we record. Today's Thursday. But everyone picks their own recording session, which means the guests are not curated. We don't like match people up. It's completely random. So I'm going to give you the beginning of a question, and you guys finish it by asking the other guest. And we'll start with you, Lindsay, asking Michael. But imagine that we're in a building full of fractional CMOs. You're on the elevator. Someone else, Michael just got on. You don't know anything about Michael. He doesn't know anything about you other than, obviously, in this building, you're both fractional CMOs. So you say, hey, like, we don't know each other, but while I've got you here, let me ask you this. What would you say?
All right. While I've got you here, Michael, let me ask you this. There's a huge debate happening, at least in my echo chamber of LinkedIn, around the value that brand has in businesses today and where that value lies, how important it is, and the future of brand and the role that it should play. What's your opinion?
I've been kind of simple-minded about this my whole career. I don't believe there's a difference between brand and promotion, in that you need to understand what your brand is, even when you're selling a short-term promotion. So I'm a big believer in brand, but I think it gives it short shrift to call it that, because I think it gives people who don't believe that brand is important the ability to say that's just wasted time, and if you're not selling with that message, you're not building your business. I just think you have to understand what your brand is, so you have to do that work. What's your position? What's your story? Why do you exist? Even if when you're in the market, you're selling a direct-to-consumer performance ad. I think they all go together. But I do agree that companies that only do like performance marketing and haven't really spent any time understanding what their brand is probably are not building for the long term.
And Michael, with Lindsay, while I've got you here, let me ask you this.
While I've got you here, let me ask you this, Lindsay. Why do you think fractional has become the term of the moment, and that everybody seems to want to be a fractional XO?
Goodness. Okay. Well, as a former CEO, I loved that fractionals were becoming a thing, because there was a moment in time that most of my executive team was fractional. It allowed us to tap into the expertise, to an expertise that frankly we never would have been able to afford otherwise. Why do I think that it's like the hot thing and everybody wants to be fractional? One, a lot is changing in our space. I think there's a lot of incredible talent on the bench, so to speak. So it's a great opportunity for somebody to kind of take the reins of their own career and their own destiny and add value in ways that they can kind of control their life and their career. But I also think that it's a little bit of shiny object. I think that there are people who are at any place in their career and say, oh, I can just be fractional and I can make more money doing less work, which is, as we both know, Michael, this is not the case. It's a lot of work, but so I think it's a little bit of both. I think that it's a lot of people are curious. I think that it seems like a grass is greener situation. There are a lot of really, really incredible, talented people, and I think there's a lot of other people that are kind of kicking the tires, hoping it's going to be something that it may or may not end up being for them.
Hold on, I'm going to make a note. Lindsay expects a shakeout. Got it.
A little bit.
Yeah, fair. Okay, so Lindsay, thanks for both of you for being here. This has been fantastic. Time to wind down. Who should be contacting you these days, and what's the best way to get to you?
I work with B2B brands, all the way from founders of startups on to marketing leaders at enterprise. I'm less about the stage, more about the problem. And it's if your brand isn't driving results for you, isn't actually working for your business to help it grow in the way that you want it to, you should reach out to me. And I'm most active on LinkedIn. If you can figure out how to spell my name, you can find me there. That's where I'm at.
And Michael, how about you? Who should be reaching out to you these days and how?
Yeah, I am also work a lot with early stage startups, founders, generally companies that have gotten somewhere, perhaps had some sales, have a product in the market, but have found that what got them where they are today is not likely going to get them to where they need to be 10x today. And so want to bring professionalization to their go-to-market, begin to drive more repeatable activities, create more systemic growth than kind of one-offs. So it tends to be early stage companies, startups, sort of post-seed, but it could be companies that have grown through their network for years, but have seen that start to kind of slow down and understand they need a more consistent cadence of business development and growth, or even private equity backed companies that are now looking to really recharge and stimulate growth. You can reach me. You can reach me at my email, which is on the screen, but also I'm on LinkedIn a lot. I do a lot of writing. I write for Media Post, as well as, of course, connect in real life at networking sessions. I'm also a B2B, generally B2B, as well as I'm focused on healthcare and health tech and digital health sector.
All right. Well, guys, both of you, thank you so much for being here. This has been fantastic. Happy Thursday. Happy episode 178. And thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.
Thanks, Dean. Bye.